Hi, my name is Nico Wieseneder and I'm a self-employed colorist from Vienna, Austria, with my own boutique studio. Today I'm going to show you how I worked with Colourlab Look Designer on a previous spot for a local organic farmer. It was shot and directed by Robert Gamperl. I worked on this one within an ACES environment because I was curious if I'm able to get some smooth film emulation in ACES too. I didn't aim for that vintage vibe, but the more modern approach. I thought Colourlab is perfect for this, and spoiler alert, I was more than happy with the results.
Mein Name ist Manfred Grabner-Heider. Ich bin Steiermark-Genussbirnenproduzent. Wir leben im Naturpark Böllauertal und wir produzieren auf ca. 5,5 Hektar Fläche Birnen.
So let's dive right in. First off, I created my ACES transform. I'm going to work with it in hybrid ACES workflow because I want to have the flexibility to do some transforms before the IDD if I need to. That's especially important for working with grain for me, but more on that later on. So I'm going to add this one into a new group, let's say ACES transform. And then I go to the group pre-clip level, go to my open effects and say ACES. Take this one. Then for the input transform, I go to Sony, S-Log2 Daylight and output transform ACES CCT. Make sure to always use the latest version, which in this case is 1.1. Then I do Command C, copy that clip, go to the group post clip level and do a output transform from ACES CCT, in this case Rec 709. Okay, now we have our ACES setup and let's go into the node tree. And here I prepared a node tree which I will use on every shot. So copy and pasting is really easy and it's the same node tree with the same nodes on every shot. Let's go through the spot real quick. I turn off all the corrections and as you can see, this one is pretty consistent. We have some drone shots in there. And I used the first shot, this one, as a master shot for my look design, as a hero frame. I chose the, let me see, second one here for the look designer. Let's go to the OpenFX, type in look designer and just drag it onto here. And as you can see, you have a lot of options like printer lights, subtractive color, which is a really great feature, lift gamma gain, temperature, saturation. And here is our input profile, output profile, and all the options to choose, print and negative stocks, even some pre-made palettes from Dado. So let's start. Our input profile, of course, is ACES CCT, and our output profile, in this case, is ACES CCT2. Then I always get through the negative section. And I chose a camera stock on this one, but you can also choose like a print or process. Then you can choose the camera stock and you have a lot of options, and I recommend to go through all of them and see what works best for your project. See, this Agfa, Fuji, sorry, it's still bypassed. That's why you didn't see anything. So you have Agfa, Ektachrome, Fuji, Kodak, and so on. So for this particular one, I used the Fuji 400T because I think Fuji gives me great green tones. So I chose this one. And I also did a contrast here, and I chose the F5. The F stands for film, contrast. And I lowered the intensity because we're on aces to around 0.248 or something like that. Yeah, that's looking nice. So here is a before and after. And as you can see, this looks a lot better already. And don't be confused about this out of gamut values here. That has nothing to do with the plugin itself, but because there's a net and this diffuses light in a pretty strange way. We already knew that this will be a problem in post when shooting, but that's just the thing how this farm works, so we couldn't get it away. But we will fix it later on, don't worry. So I thought of just using this one up front here. This is more or less my negative emulation, and I don't want too much going on in one particular node in transformations. So I think I used another one here. Yeah, that's 11. It was right here. And I did the same thing. Look designer, drag it onto it. Then input profile, ACES CCT, output profile, ACES CCT again. Here I chose a print stock. So I go to digital print stock. And I chose the Fuji one again. And I think I lowered the intensity on this one too, to around 3.3 or something like that. Yeah, that's looking good. So before and after, before and after. Now both nodes, before and after. That's looking pretty good already. And now we're going to fine tune everything. And for this, I think I will go back to my negative one. I will add a bit of subtractive color. I really like this feature and you can do so much things with it. I definitely recommend you get some time and play around with these controls. They're really amazing. And I add a bit of CMY. So this is basically all this gang together, something like that. And there's already less artifacts here, as you can see. Yeah, it's looking good. Gives us much more density. And now fine tune a bit of cyan, maybe a tiny bit of magenta, and let's see, maybe a bit yellow too. Yeah, that's nice. And now we got a bit too dark, so we counterfied with some lift. Yeah, it's better, and I think we should get our highlights down. Then we probably get rid of the artifacts. Yeah, that's it. Looking good, and I think we can get a bit more density, so let's pull the gamma down. Yeah, that's looking great. Maybe a bit less saturation, but not too much. Yes, that's looking good. So as you can see, I'm turning both of these on. This is the standard ACES transform, and this is where we are at now without any other corrections, masks, key or something like that. And I think the result is already really lovely, and actually with maybe a smaller job you can already call it a day here because it looks amazing. But of course, we will further improve these things. So normally when I'm happy with my emulation, in Look Designer I go here and export a LUT 65 because it has even more information in there, but 33 would be okay too if you have like a slower system or something like that. But I always go for 65 to not have any problems later on. So you can say like export, and then it loads into your Colourlab folder. I already have one, you can name it. I will quickly copy it over. So reset this node and reset this node. I already have them here. Command C, copy paste, Command V. And as you can see, I already have like the node I selected here is already selected here. And that's the reason why I have like a fixed node graph with more nodes than I will probably need, because if I need them for some corrections or stuff like that, they're already in place and I can quickly copy. If you want to have these controls too, you just have to go like in here, the 3 dots, switching clip selected, same node. Really recommend you try this out if you haven't heard of it yet. It's a really awesome feature. Okay, so for our film emulation, we also need some grain, obviously. I have it already here. Just copy this one, add a serial before and paste it in here. And this one is Grainlab. I really recommend you try this one out. It gives you great results and you can say which camera you have. In this case is Sony. As we already seen here in the input, it's a Sony cam. Then you have like different grain selections, 16 and 35 with different strengths. You can enable 4K if you're working on 4K footage. Then you have like the spark intensity, which is basically your highlights. Body is all the midtones and base is more or less the shadows. And I already played around and came up with these. And it's really nice. And that's the reason why I work with a hybrid ACES workflow, because I'm able to do my grain before I go into ACES, which gives you a much better result. So after that one, I think I've made just some minor adjustments, like having a really mild vignette in here, and I keyed the red and yellow a bit and pushed it more to the greenish side. Before my negative emulation, I had some printer lights adjustments, and I think pushed a bit more saturation in it again, and I think a hue versus set for the highlights. Here is your before and after. Cooled everything a bit down. And then is our negative emulation here. I think this was some kind of look. So actually let's disable everything. So this is where we started. Vignette, key, everything a bit bluer. This was like lift gamma gain, really slight adjustments. Some curves, hue versus hue, hue versus saturation, hue versus luminance. That's it. And I think I finished everything off with some log adjustments. Highlights a bit bluer, midtones also slightly bluer, counterfied the shadows a bit. Did this in a parallel structure, so you have one input, everything gets calculated together. Output, one before the print emulation, just for some trim passes or something like that. Another slight change, this was probably a change from the director, or I think from the client actually. And I made it after the emulation because I think I felt that it's behaving a bit better, and as you can see I lowered the red of the shirt a tiny bit more filmic. And as you can see, if you have like a solid setup, a color managed one, print emulation, negative emulation, you really have to do some minor adjustments and keys, and everything works really great and really fast. Actually, I did some overall corrections for all the shots in the group post clip level, and that's pretty much it. So it's really easy, really fast, you get great results, and as you can see, you also get great film emulation within an ACES environment now. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching.